What's up guys, it's Pine3K, and I have pretty mixed feelings about the newly introduced Tera raids in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. On one hand, you have the rampant glitches, but on the other hand, you have the increased strategy. On one hand, you have the awful timer, but on the other hand, you have the greater difficulty. So their introduction offers a chance for a retrospective on the max raids from Sword and Shield. 4-player raids were a new concept that Game Freak had the opportunity to play around with in Scarlet and Violet. The formula has been polished in some areas and shit on in others. The concept of 4 normal-sized people fighting a giant Pokemon feels much cooler than 4 normal-sized people fighting a normal-sized glittery Pokemon. So there's that, but let's look a bit deeper. Okay, first of all, the mechanics. One of the main differences between Max and Tera raids is the battle timer. Max raids had a timer in the form of a move limit and a limit on how many Mons could faint before the battle ended. Tera raids switched things up a bit with a timer that moved in real time. This fits really awkwardly with the Pokemon formula, since it's always been about thinking your moves through. It does add a new sense of urgency though, and it's an interesting change of pace, but it's super unfair because of move animations and other constant interruptions ruining the timer and making it super annoying. Having limited turns was way better in my opinion. Another parallel to Max raids is the Tera shield present this time around, and I absolutely hate it. Sure, it does force you to save your Tera for when the shield pops up, but it does it so badly. It pales in comparison to the Dynamax shields from before. All the Tera shield does is make the opponent annoyingly tanky. The Max shield provided a challenge, and you were given a choice on how you wanted to tackle it most of the time. You could save your Dynamax and power through and benefit from the Max later, like if there was a second shield. Or you could use your Max immediately and take down the shield much more easily with the potential risk of having trouble later on. On top of that, there was an actual reward for breaking the shield, since the boss would get a defense drop. This doesn't make the raid instantly winnable either, since they have the power to remove that drop. It also meant that having 2 shields wasn't crazy overpowered either. The Tera shields offer absolutely no benefit and are just a damn annoyance. This is exacerbated even more in the event raids. The third major mechanic change I'll mention is the Tera Orb. In Max raids, only one player was allowed to Dynamax per battle, and the opportunity rotated between players each turn. In Tera raids, though, every player is allowed to Terrasilize once, and the ability to is locked behind a charge. You have to use a certain amount of moves first before you can Terrasilize. On top of that, the boss has the ability to remove all the charge from your Tera Orb if it feels like it. The Tera charge solution makes more sense for the Terastal gimmick, since Terrasilizing isn't as powerful as Max. Plus, NPCs can't Terrasilize or Dynamax, so you don't have to wait for the rotation to end. But it still annoys me a lot. By Terrasilizing, you're already expecting the risk that your Pokemon might faint and you lose the Tera. So what's the point of stalling just by making you wait a few turns? Just let me use the damn gimmick. I do like it better than the Dynamax rotation thing, but it really shouldn't be in Tera raids at all. Max raids needed to have it since you can't have multiple Dynamaxes at once, but it serves no purpose in Tera raids. Okay, single player versus multiplayer. Raids is supposed to be mainly multiplayer and are designed around that, but it's important that they're still good in single player. Insert overused joke about having no friends here. Which is why both games give you the option to play with NPCs as your raid partners instead of real people. The Max raid NPCs were incompetent, remember Martin and his Solrock, but still somehow more helpful than Tera raid NPCs for hard fights. I don't know if it's just me, but Tera bosses seem to only target the host in single-player matches, which is unbelievably annoying. On top of that, unless you have a specially made build, the 7-star event Tera raids they've been doing recently are pretty much impossible in single-player. The glitches. It's no secret that Scarlet and Violet is hella glitchy compared to Sword and Shield, despite being a vastly better game. So of course, this carries over into the Tera raids as well. I don't know how many were fixed in the patches, but they're still really annoying sometimes. Some of the ones I've encountered are the boss using a move even after losing ult HP, and the timer going down by a lot when someone dies in multiplayer. Actually, upon further research, it seems like that second one might be intentional, but that's really stupid. I'm glad it doesn't happen in single player because that would be hell. Dynamax Adventures. The Dynamax Adventures in Sword and Shield DLC heavily improved on the regular Max raids. They made the NPCs better, successfully switched up the formula, made the battles more interesting, and gave much more impressive rewards. I do wish there was more to it than being a grind fest to catch all the legendaries, like some limited time events or something, but it was still really good. Something like this for Tera raids would probably be included in the DLC, though it really should have been in the base game, especially given how non-existent the post game is. Maybe there'll be an equivalent to the Max layer located deep inside Area 0, since the second part of the DLC is focused there. The events. This is one area where Tera raids really shine. The Max raid events pale in comparison to the Tera events going on right now. The Max raid events were mostly just Gigantamaxes that you could already get anyways and a few uncatchable legendaries. Remember that Zeraora mystery gift thingy? That was really dumb. While the Tera raid events have been giving us challenging battles along with a bunch of starter evolutions. We wouldn't need to do these events if they would just give us Scarlet Violet home compatibility already, but it is what it is, I guess. The Max raid events did let you use regular Pokemon and still be beatable, while the 7-star events require you to copy the super tedious builds from the internet unless you're doing multiplayer. The new build-making conveniences make it less of a pain, but it's still super annoying. The higher strategy than max events gets excessive sometimes, but it is still cool. Overall, I slightly prefer max raids because they feel more fair, but I definitely appreciate how much more fleshed out Tera raids are and the new added difficulty. They still need some fine-tuning though, and it'll hopefully come in the DLC. Alright guys, that's it for today. If you liked the video, make sure to like that like button, and if you want to see more, you could subscribe if you want. Comment any video ideas that you have, like things you might want me to talk about, because that would be cool, I guess. Alright, see ya. The max shield provided a challenge, and you were given a choice on how you wanted to tackle it most of the time. You could save your Dynamax and power through the benefit for later on, or max the later, and I'm gonna what the fuck?